Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. You know, as I start to pick through more and more companies starting to hire an inclusive workforce and that neurodiverse population, it does give me some sense of, that there may be hope for my son when he goes to get a job. And then as I start going through more and more companies, I found companies that have entire workforce populations that are neurodiverse. Insert Ventures ATL. And with me today, Chet Hurwitz, the co-founder and board member of Ventures ATL. Chet, how are you today?
Doing great, and thanks so much for having me.
Well, thank you. Tell me the inspiration about starting Ventures ATL.
Sure. Well, my wife Sarah and I have a son, now 31 years old, on the spectrum. And when he was a teenager, it became clear to us that one of the big challenges he would face is finding a job that fit his skills and interests. And we know that for so many people, that's sort of a critical defining point between if they have a job that fits their skills and interests, there's a positive ripple effect. And of course, the opposite is true. So we spent a lot of time worrying about the issue of employment, knowing, as I suspect, that a very high percentage of adults on the autism spectrum are unemployed or underemployed. The widely cited statistic is 80%.
Yeah, isn't that so sad?
It's so sad and glaring. I had a conversation with somebody about 5 years ago, and I said, do you realize the unemployment rate is 80%? And she said, 8%? That's twice the national average. I said, yes, and 80% is 20 times the national average, sadly. So, it was almost so glaring to her, she couldn't believe it would be as high as 8. So we knew this was an important issue, and we wanted to do something about it.
So what does Ventures ATL do then?
Yeah, so what we do is, we opened our doors in 2017, and our mission is to create meaningful and sustainable career paths for individuals on the spectrum or folks with similar developmental differences. And so what we decided to do was operate businesses for which there's real commercial demand and which play to the strengths and interests of that you frequently find with people on the spectrum. Now, we're not everything to everybody. We realize the spectrum is a spectrum
right,
with a wide range of interests. You and I both have things that we're good at, and I know I've got a lot of things that I'm not good at, and things that I'm interested in, and things that I'm less interested in. So we knew we couldn't be everything to everybody, but we wanted to provide a meaningful career option for a solid percentage of folks on the spectrum. And no precision or mathematical certainty to this, but maybe 35-40% of folks on the spectrum might like to do the work that we wanted to generate at Ventures ATL. And importantly, I just want to say one other thing. We didn't want to be just another good solution for, let's say, the 2% of people on the spectrum who may be particularly gifted in areas of technology or certain other fields, because that 2% had already received some well-deserved traction in the traditional labor market. It's wonderful. We applaud them, but we realize that if there's a 80% issue, that a 2% solution is not enough.
When we get back with Chet Hurwitz, we're going to find out a little bit more about what Ventures ATL does. Stay with me.
Hi, I'm Lear Gilmars. Thanks to our friends at
Welcome back to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. Sitting with me today, the co-founder and board member of Ventures ATL, and that's Chet Hurwitz. Thank you so much, Chet, for being with me. Chet, tell me a little bit more about what it is exactly the folks are doing over there as far as product fulfillment and data management. Who are you working with?
Yeah, sure. As you said, we have basically two lines of business. And by the way, what's really important for us in picking these areas was that there was real commercial demand and that the jobs that they would involve would be areas of strength and interest for our employees. So first one, data management. It's the bigger part of our business and probably the fastest growing. And the idea there was that many individuals on the spectrum have a high level of focus and attention to detail and affinity for methodical tasks the ability to recognize patterns in data, a high level of comfort with data they may see on a computer screen. And those were skills that were really positive distinguishing qualities for many fundamental data management tasks that companies struggle with. This is an area of great struggle for a lot of companies trying to get accurate, consistent, complete data. And the requirements to kind of, as we would say, cover that last mile of data quality are things that our employees tend to be very good at.
And so who are you working with when it comes to data management? What kind of companies are your people working with then?
Okay, so, and by the way, I just want to mention one thing, because this is kind of a common misconception. Sometimes people think we're either a placement agency or a training. So we are a company. We're
right.
The employer. We're a third-party service provider. We work with these companies. Our team delivers, a solution just like any consulting firm or third-party service provider. So we've worked with clients in a bunch of different industries. We have one of our large clients. We have some large clients here in Atlanta. Cox Communications is a client of ours. We do a lot of work with them in the data management area. Rourke Capital, which is a large private equity firm based here in Atlanta, which owns many fast-serve restaurants and other businesses, and we've done a lot of interesting projects with Rourke Capital. PricewaterhouseCoopers is a client, and we have several other clients that range both in industry and in size. When we started out, probably our clients were smaller businesses, and the scope of the engagements was smaller. As we've grown and shown that we could deliver real value, larger clients have become attracted to us, and the scope of what we do has grown, which is great. And our employees' skill set, obviously what's really important is clients have more confidence in us. Our employees demonstrated they could do great work. When we approached clients initially, we said, we have this notion of what we can do in data management, and we think it's a good idea. I call it our B+ idea. I said, but you, the client, may have an A+ application for our B+ idea, so let's work together, and over time, maybe we'll collectively migrate to even better areas for us to add value to your business. So it's been a very exciting process to see the way our employees have grown, the way they interact with the clients, the scope of responsibilities they have. One of the things I'll share with you that was interesting, because it kind of surprised me when we started, we had a lot of confidence in the ability of our employees to do those sort of critical functions about data quality and consistency. What we weren't so sure of is, would there be limitations on whether it was the pace at which they could work, the sort of time urgency and pressure.
Sure.
So one of our clients, Rourke Capital, which they have a lot of companies in their portfolio that they operate, but they also do acquisitions on a regular basis. And they've actually engaged us to do some work to support their due diligence activities on acquisitions, which is very exciting because those engagements tend to have a real short fuse and a excitement level to them.
Now, you also do product fulfillment too, right? And
Right.
What do you fulfill as far as products are?
Okay, so product fulfillment, it was a little bit of an opportunistic, business for us to get into. One of our board members is a senior business development director at Dooney and Burke, a company that's well known as a maker of high quality,
Purses.
primarily women's handbags. Nobody has, by a percentage amount, increased his or her knowledge of handbags more than I have since I started out at 0. And now know quite a bit. But Dooney and Burke was very gracious in their desire to work with us from the beginning. And so what we decided, by the way, it's a global company, a global supply chain, et cetera. They didn't need, per se, another distribution center. But what they decided to do was to work with us and co-brand a new product line, a new affinity product line, which is basically a line of Dooney and Burke bags, which has a special emblem on it that says autism awareness. It has a multicolored puzzle piece heart on the emblem. If I had been more thoughtful, I would have brought one of the bags here to hold it up. But
as long as your wife has one, right?
No, well, one might be an understatement. I mean, it's like potato chips. Nobody can eat just one. Or nobody should have just one. But in any event, it was really, great for us to work with Dooney and Burke. So we're the exclusive distributor of the autism awareness
Infinity line.
Themed product line for Dooney and Burke handbags. It comes in a number of styles and colors: hobos, small Lexingtons, satchels, wristlets. I could go on, but I shouldn't. Actually, I can't. I think I've exhausted my vocabulary in that area. But seriously, it's really been a nice thing. It gave us some interesting visibility on the front end. The other thing I want to say is our employees do the pick, pack, label, and ship of the items. So the items are ordered online at our website. Our employees do all the inventory management. They do the pick, pack, label, and ship. They put a personal note in as they pack the bags. And they take a lot of pride in it.
Oh, I bet they do.
We've been gratified by the very positive response we've gotten within the autism community around the bags. And, of course, more importantly, the roles that our employees play in doing that work. One of the things that was interesting for us is, sometimes people think product fulfillment is just throwing something in a box. But there's a lot more to it. I mentioned inventory management. We also basically had to create and manage an online store. And so our employees are involved in that, which is really, and then we have some other product fulfillment clients where they have either products that are ordered online or special events for which they ask us to do the fulfillment, the shipping, etc. So, and what's been interesting for us is some of our employees strongly gravitate to one or the other of our businesses. Some like doing both. Some like the fact that there's an occasional change of pace. Like if I'm doing a lot of data management that's sort of at my computer, then maybe I can do something that's, a little physical or a little different. And so it's been a nice mix, although I would say, as we suspected at the beginning, the product fulfillment business would do well, but we think the real engine for growth is the data management business. That I can explain.
The data management. Well, sitting with me today, Chet Hurwitz, co-founder and board member of Ventures ATL. We're going to talk a little bit more about the employees and what they can expect when they go to work at Ventures ATL. Stay with me.
I'm Lear Gillenwaters. Thanks for checking out this episode of Life with the Spectrum. If you subscribe to the channel, you'll always see the newest episodes when they come out.
Thank you so much for returning to Life with the Spectrum. I'm your host, Gina Cavalli. With me today, Chet Hurwitz, the co-founder and board member at Ventures ATL, a company that employs all neurodiverse people. And I love this company. I love the product management and the data management and everything that you are doing over there. Let me ask you, with a company that started in 2017, Chet, how many employees do you have?
Okay, so we have 25 employees now. And by the way, when you say they're all neurodiverse, I have to say they're not quite true. We'll have to settle at 96% of them. We have 25. We actually just this week have moved into some expanded space adjacent to our prior space. Our office is in Sandy Springs, pretty close to the intersection of 285 and Roswell Road. We've taken on additional space that should, from a physical standpoint, accommodate at least 25 more employees as we grow into that. 25 in addition to the 25 we have now.
So that's what I was going to ask you about expansion. Number one, first, I have some trial by fire questions for you.
Sure.
Do your employees get competitive pay? If they were working at a data management or product fulfillment center elsewhere, would this be comparable pay?
Yeah, I think their overall compensation would be very comparable. It's well above minimum wage. It's well, given their skill sets, et cetera. Many of them have had promotions to sort of supervisory roles that make sense for them. They've been able to take on, and a nice stream of pay increases. So we think it's very competitive in that respect.
Okay, so with 25 employees now and now moving into a larger space like you're doing today, what can we expect for expansion? I'm sure people, parents, people themselves are watching saying, you know what, I might need to go work here. So
it's a fun place. We welcome, by the way, when I say it's a fun place, I didn't mean that as just a joke. We really strive to make this an enjoyable environment. I'd like to turn back to that a little later because it's critically important to our culture and what makes us successful.
Sure.
But in terms of growth, probably what I would say is, so the key driver for growth that I'd want folks to know is we need more clients who will give us more engagement. So to the extent that people work for companies who could use data management services or product fulfillment services, I would love for them to reach out to us. You know, we operate a disciplined business model, so obviously we're trying. We believe that there is strong market demand that would enable us to grow to, let's say, over the next 3 years, have 50 employees. Okay, we feel strongly that that's the case, but obviously we need to, continue to grow, bring in more clients and business. So we're interested in more businesses who could be data management clients or people who have ideas of a service offering that might be close but a little different to what we do, to suggest those ideas, because that'll really be the driver of our growth. We're very fortunate now to have really good, a good group of employees and a really nice, strong pipeline of very qualified candidates that we would love to bring on as soon as we, bring on the additional client revenue. Now, having said that, we don't sit around and just, rub Aladdin's lamp and hope that more client revenue will pop up. I mean, we are, very, kind of focused in a disciplined way.
Actively seeking
about growing the business and finding more clients who would work with us. So, but we'd like to, again, I think we have, a good structure to easily support a doubling of our size in the next 3 years. And by the way, there's no reason why we shouldn't have more than 100 employees in 5 to 7 years or significantly more than that. And I'll explain why I say that in a minute.
Well, let's go back really quick, Chet, to you wanted to bring up culture.
Yeah,
and
sure.
That's so important because every company does have a culture, and many companies who have had losing battles have to bring in new people to create new culture. So what's your culture like there
Sure.
at Ventures ATL?
So we're interested in a few things. We're committed to the success of our employees. We realize that for many of them, it'll be a first job. For many of them, it will be the first job that really fits their skills and interests. They may have had jobs in the past that they held for a while. Either it wasn't a job that was really of interest to them, or they started out with a good supervisor. It was great for 4 months. Supervisor got transferred. Supervisor number 2 was not nearly as effective, accommodating, etc. So the culture is we're committed to their success. So first of all, we have a different interview process. When people come in, we're less interested in how well they could schmooze.
Yeah.
Or, we're not trying people out to see if they could host the Tonight Show. We have a couple of folks who are interested in it, but it's not our primary business. So we're interested in, do they like the work we do, and can they do it well? So when they come in, we have what we call task challenges, but a series of, opportunities for them to demonstrate on things that are just like the engagements we do with clients. How well do they do with it? How do they overcome challenges? How well do they seem to work with their colleagues for whom they may be collaborating on it? So we can see both the cultural fit and how interested they are in our work. One of our challenges is because of, the fact that there may not be enough opportunities for individuals on the spectrum to find interesting work. Many times folks will come to me and say, I have a son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew who would be a great fit for your company. He or she loves the type of work you do. But when I talk or when the folks who are otherwise involved in the interview process speak with these people, sometimes it's like they ask, what do you do? And we explain what they do. And I've had one occasion where somebody said, oh, I hate that stuff. And, which again, very commendable candor, but, we want to make sure there's an alignment. We want people to be successful. We don't want somebody to come here and be disappointed. So we have a very supportive environment. We have a pretty careful onboarding process to get folks comfortable with the culture, with the nature of the work, and by the way, for some of our employees, issues of basic workplace dynamics are unfamiliar to them. Who do I talk to? When do I take breaks? Just the dynamics of being in the workplace. So we're very careful to provide support and guidance around that point. And one of the most gratifying things to us is to see the extent to which some of our longer-term employees have grown and developed on that point. So, on day one, they may have been particularly unprepared for that, and now they can be leaders and, positive role models for new employees. And that's really wonderful to see.
Where can people find Ventures ATL?
Good. Well, the easiest way to find us is on our website, which is www.venturesatl.com. If you're interested, we think it's a pretty easy, intuitive website for those who are interested in applying for jobs. There's a Join Our Team tab. There are tabs that describe the businesses we provide, and that we would, urge clients to look into, to sort of scroll through those tabs and, learn about what we do. But I think that's probably the easiest way. And then there are points of contact listed for each of the sort of processes, whether it's a potential applicant or a potential client.
I really, really love the work that you're doing, and I think that it should, I know it's like a nonprofit for-profit business, right? And
right.
And I just really think that you're giving an opportunity to many young adults who definitely deserve it and oftentimes are underserved and underappreciated and just don't understand how to navigate that world of employment. And it sounds like Ventures ATL makes it really easy. Thank you so much, Chet, for being on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Make sure to reach out to venturesatl.com and look for Chet and his team and the wonderful work that they're doing. Thank you so much again, Chet.
Thank you.
The first thing that comes to my mind is what a positive role model Ventures ATL is being for other businesses, right? I mean, hiring a pretty much all neurodiverse workforce should make other businesses look at hiring a more inclusive neurodiverse workforce and population as well. Because as Chet said, and he's right, 80% of people on the spectrum go without work or are stuck behind a cash register at a fast food restaurant when we know that their skill sets are so much more, right? And then you start thinking about the clients. Then it's like the trickle-down effect. Like one client starts seeing success, say through Ventures ATL or another company hiring that neurodiverse workforce. And then those clients are seeing that they too become more sensitive and they can also employ neurodiverse people, right? And then you think about the impact it makes on the individual itself and on their families. The fact that they have more friends to choose from, that they have purpose. Every morning they get up, they know they have purpose because they're going to work to earn a paycheck and they can spend it on providing themselves a place to live and becoming more independent or whatever the case may be. And then that impact on the family members looking at their kids, at their young adults and being so proud of them and being like, wow, you've come a long way, right? And so venturesatl.com, I have a feeling like they're going to get a lot of Gina-ling-a-lings next week for people wanting to apply. And the growth is there. They just moved into another new location or a bigger location. And I'm certain that they will be ready to speak with maybe your young adult. Again, thank you so much for checking into Life with the Spectrum. As we continue to live this crazy journey called life, it really is now more important than ever to connect you with tools and resources and people and organizations and foundations and businesses like Ventures ATL making big waves in the world of disability. So thanks again. And until next time, we live life with the spectrum. See ya.